Do you think this is a chicken? Actually, it's a rabbit standing on chicken feet. The reason this rabbit looks like this goes back over a decade. That day, the adventure-loving royal brothers stumbled upon a hidden ruin by chance. The older brother, Lai Pan, inserted a key into a disc, and soon a stone door slowly opened. But as soon as Lai Pan stepped inside, he triggered a trap. Fortunately, the king reacted swiftly, saving Lai Pan's life. Then, using a whip, the king swung across. Soon, they found the world's most precious artifact, the dark hamster. But just as Lai picked it up excitedly, the dark hamster instantly crumbled into dust, and the ruins began to collapse. Luckily, both brothers were agile, escaping just before the ruins completely caved in. Although they didn't obtain the treasure, the king found something even more valuable, a rabbit standing on chicken feet. The kind-hearted king brought it back, unaware that it would one day become the hero who saves the kingdom. Because of Chick's strange appearance, the other kids treated him like a monster and shunned him. This made Chick very sad, often hiding in his room to cry quietly. Nevertheless, Chick still dreamed of becoming an adventurer like his father. So from that day on, he would wear fake rabbit-foot shoes and a hat to cover his chicken feathers. To become strong, knowledge was essential, so he spent every day studying in the library. Even when his feathers caught fire from a candle, it couldn't dampen Chick's passion for learning. One day, he took the Adventurers Guild exam. The bridge stretched over a bottomless cliff, and both his father and the servants were deeply worried. Chick mustered his courage and stepped onto the rope bridge, but a sudden gust of wind blew off his hat. Not wanting anyone to see his chicken feathers, he fumbled to grab his hat, causing him to fall from the bridge. At the critical moment, the examiner flipped a switch, releasing a safety net just in time to save Chick. He had hoped to prove himself through this opportunity, but instead, he became a laughingstock. Back home, Chick blamed himself endlessly in front of the mirror. Just then, his father opened the door. Chick braced himself to prepare for another attempt at the exam, but his father delivered a harsh truth. The adventurer's assessment could only be taken once in a lifetime. Hearing this, Chick refused to accept it, but his father only wanted Chick to be happy, and told him about the greatest treasure he had ever discovered.
Do you know the greatest treasure I've ever found?
The Fountain of Middle Age.
It was you.
And it was these words that gave Chick a new idea. If he couldn't pass the official exam, he would complete an adventure no one else could. That would earn everyone's respect just the same. It turned out there was a mysterious legend in this kingdom. In a distant cave lay a magical staff that could command countless dark hamsters to fight for its master. And so, Chick searched through endless records. But just as he found the most crucial book, the librarian told him it had been checked out by none other than his uncle, Lai Pan. Because Lai Pan had always schemed to usurp the throne, the king had imprisoned him. But to find that key information, Chick took the risk and went to the prison. However, the guard only took him to the upper level. He didn't dare go down to the lowest floor, but Chick wasn't deterred. He finally reached where his uncle was held. Learning that Chick wanted information on the dark hamster, Lai Pan intentionally dropped the book on the floor. When Chick reached for it, Lai Pan quietly plucked a feather from Chick's head. Chick didn't notice at all, and eventually left the prison out of fear. Little did he know he had just caused a disaster. Lai Pan used the feather to unlock the dungeon gate, release all the prisoners, and decided to find the dark scepter himself, to seize his younger brother's throne. You think this is a wildflower? The skunk pulls it from the sand, only to discover it's a deadly scorpion.
Slowly.
Seeing this, the other scorpions shrink back in fear. Then the skunk picks up a rock and immediately hurls it forward. In an instant, the man-eating plants lying in ambush under the sand all erupt to the surface. Impressed by the skunk's prowess, Chick instantly sends him a team invite. The reason he wants the skunk on his side is to make up for his own mistake. Not long ago, Chick accidentally set the rebel Lai Pan free. After leaving a letter for his father, he set off on a journey with his friend, the turtle. They soon arrive at an inn. He meant to pump the gorilla for information, but never imagined it was actually one of Lai Pan's henchmen. Luckily, the skunk shows up in the nick of time and gives the gorilla a sound thrashing. They finally get the intel about swimming, only to cross paths with a local bully the very next moment. In this dire situation, the skunk has no choice but to unleash his secret weapon. With the skunk now on the team, Chick feels supremely confident about this mission. But what's even more infuriating is that Lai Pan had people dismantle the wooden river bridge ahead of time. Chick and the turtle plunge right through when they try to cross. Thankfully, the skunk is a seasoned pro and quickly pulls them to safety.
Oh my gosh! I'm pulling him out of his skin!
However, Chick's secret, his chicken feet, gets exposed. Instead of mocking him, the skunk actually comforts him, saying, "The things that make us different are what make us special." It turns out the skunk went through something similar. Because of his own natural odor, he used to take hundreds of showers a day, but the smell always lingered. This left him without a single friend, so he decided to plug up his rear end, and he kept it plugged for 5 whole years. Then one day, some kids fooling around caused the museum doors to slam shut and lock. He was terrified, and the fart he'd been holding in for 5 years couldn't be contained any longer. Finally let loose, and that very fart ended up saving everyone. From that moment on, he began to accept his own uniqueness. Hearing this, Chick feels inspired, but they haven't gone far when they walk right into an ambush. A group of pigs disguised as bamboo captures them. This turns out to be a tribe entirely composed of pigs, each one perfectly square and tidy, looking quite adorable. The three are quickly surrounded by the pig herd. Then, the pig king makes his entrance, flanked by little pigs. He steps up, gives the trio a good once-over, and promptly decides to offer them as a sacrifice to the volcano god. The celestial being they worship is actually just a stone with a pig's nose carved into it. Well-trained trained piglets, then hoist their cage up into midair. Chick notices the cage key is in the hand of a sleeping piglet. Suddenly, he gets a clever idea. Working in perfect sync, the three start tickling the piglet. The plan works better than expected. Tickling left and right like this, they soon have a mountain of piglets piled up. Chick seizes the chance to grab the cage key, unlocks the cage, and they make their escape. They're already in the clear, but Chick wants his hat back. Ignoring his friend's pleas, he quietly climbs a bamboo pole, only to slip and fall. Luckily, the pig king is sleeping soundly. But just as Chick is about to leave, he accidentally bumps a piglet's alarm device. The Pig King jolts awake instantly. The piglets swarm in, surrounding the three once more. Enraged, the Pig King orders them thrown into the volcano for sacrifice immediately. Right at that moment, the turtle snatches their celestial god, scaring the piglets into lowering their weapons. They finally manage to rescue the other two. The turtle tries to toss the stone to distract the piglets, but it just bounces and lands right back where it started. At the Pig King's command, the pigs give chase, even bringing out a cannon. In this critical moment, the skunk uses his secret move again.
Fire in the hole!
The turtle and the skunk managed to get away safely. This rabbit with chicken feet was being frantically chased by a group of piglets. Soon, the path ahead was blocked by the piglets, and he was surrounded. Soon, the Pig King arrived driving a cannon, and fired without hesitation. In this desperate situation, Chick's feathers were activated, and he successfully dodged the attack. Chick was thrilled about this. Facing the following fierce assaults, Chick dodged skillfully. Then with a leap, he successfully jumped to his companion's side. But the piglets were still closing in step by step, and ahead was a bottomless chasm. Seeing no escape, Chick used his whip to wrap around a tree, intending to swing to the other side of the cliff. But as a result,
Oh, please.
No!
they still ended up falling. Fortunately, there was a pool below, and they unexpectedly discovered the mountain peak where the dark scepter was located. So they set off immediately, hoping to reach it before Lai Pan. They took a small path. Little did they know, Lai Pan in the distance had already spotted them. He initially wanted to trigger an avalanche to stop them, but his clumsy subordinate miscalculated the position. This came as a surprise to the three, yet they had already fallen into Lai Pan's trap. Soon, Chick and the others reached the entrance of the secret chamber, but as soon as they entered, the mechanism was triggered. Walls lined with spikes began closing in from both sides. Despite trying every method, they couldn't stop them. At the critical moment, Chick discovered the mechanism's button and successfully deactivated it. Then, the door to the second chamber opened. It was filled with freezing ice blocks. Just as they were making their way through, the surroundings suddenly began to shake. The icicles above trembled precariously, and a giant stone wheel appeared behind them, sending the three sprinting in terror. But running like this wasn't a solution. The observant Chick discovered the chamber's secret again. The direction the Hamster King's finger pointed was likely the way out, so he tried to persuade the other two to stop. The turtle was a bit skeptical, but the skunk chose to believe him, so they stood at the spot indicated by the statue. And indeed, they avoided the danger. The hidden entrance to the next challenge suddenly appeared. They finally arrived at the legendary place and found the true dark scepter. But at that moment, Lai Pan, who had been tailing them, suddenly appeared. After restraining Chick's companions, he threatened Chick to hand over the scepter. But while Chick hesitated, Lai Pan's minion swooped in from behind and grabbed the scepter. Lai Pan seized the chance to snatch it away. Then he chanted an incantation, awakening the dark hamsters that had slept for years. He intended to use these endless hamsters to seize the throne he had long coveted. Next, they were thrown off the cliff by Lai Pan's minions. Luckily, they landed on an ice pillar. They had to return immediately to stop Lai Pan. Without a second thought, Chick leapt down with a rope. Just before landing, feathers suddenly sprouted from his ears, and with a soaring leap, he reached the opposite side. Crucially, he turned his flaws into strengths, successfully rescuing his friends. By now, Lai Pan had already returned to the kingdom. He used the scepter to summon countless hamsters, instantly occupying the kingdom. Just as Lai Pan was about to execute the king, the turtle dropped from the sky.
What? Pet, say hello to my little smelly friend.
Chick took the opportunity to snatch back the scepter, but unexpectedly, the scepter had already bonded with a master. To resolve this crisis, the scepter had to be completely destroyed. Chick intended to throw it into the magma, but Lai Pan entangled him with a rope. During the struggle, Chick lost his balance and fell. Just as Lai Pan tried to pick up the scepter, he noticed Chick was right below. Then the wooden bridge suddenly broke, and both fell into the abyss. The scepter fell as well. At the critical moment, Chick grabbed Lai Pan's hand, but far from being grateful, Lai Pan stepped on Chick's face to climb up, and kicked Chick down. Unexpectedly, the fire burned through the ladder's ropes, and Lai Pan also fell. During the fall, Lai Pan clung desperately to Chick, wanting him to accompany his demise. Little did he know, as the scepter was completely destroyed, a massive surge of energy erupted from below. Chick rode the energy blast and flew upward, while Lai Pan remained below. Soon, the hamsters in the city began to vanish, and the kingdom regained its vibrant vitality. Chick and his two companions became heroes of the kingdom.